Hello students, welcome to class 12 biology. Today we are going to learn biozoology 10th lesson in zoology, that is organisms and population. So in this lesson we are going to learn about organism and its environment, that is environment include all abiotic and biotic factors around them. Then habitat is a place organism lives and functional space is called niche. Organism can live in desert or it is living inside the water. Then major abiotic components we are going to learn about temperature, light, water, soil, wind, humidity and altitude. And under temperature we are going to learn in detail about its influence on biological and chemical characters and influence on physical character, that is how they have adapted physically to live in the particular condition, and influences on organisms distribution, number of organisms present in a particular area and adaptation to temperature. Organism and its environment. Environment is a collective term which includes different conditions in which organisms live or organisms present. Every organism has its own specific environment with which it has to continuously interact. What does the word interact mean? It has to respond to the climatic conditions and it has to develop suitable adaptation. Okay, so organisms show different range of population growth and its distribution and number of organisms in an area and behavior. It can be nocturnal, that is they come out during night, or it is active during night, and most of the organisms are active during daytime. That is what behavior denotes. And reproduction, whether oviparous, viviparous, and whether the parental care is present, that is all learnt under reproduction. Next we are going to learn about the habitat. That is, habitat is considered as the addresses of organism and the collection of all habitats area of the species constitute geographical range. We are learning the term geographical range. What is it? It's a collection of habitat areas. Okay, organism in an habitat interact with each other and can be a part of the trophic levels. Do you follow? We have already learned about the food chain and food webs in botany, where we have seen about the different trophic levels. So organisms in a habitat interact with each other and can be a part of trophic level. Okay, next we have examples of xerophytic habitat, that is camel. Xerophytic habitat, the camel uses water, okay, for evaporative cooling through the skin and respiratory system. So what is evaporative cooling? When the heat is sent out from the body, it creates a little water droplets on the surface of the body which makes the body cooler. So you can understand in simple way that when we are sweating during the hot summer condition to make ourselves cool, that is what is experienced by camel also, where evaporative cooling occurs through the skin and respiratory system. They excrete highly concentrated urine. Why it is highly concentrated? To reduce the quantity of water eliminated from the body. Okay, so it concentrated means it will have more of unwanted salt and unwanted biochemical agents that is to be removed from the body, and water will be very less. It can 25% of its body weight dehydration can hold, and hoofs and humps are also suitable adaptation for the survival in the sandy environment, because the sand, once it flies, it should not fall and stay on the body. So for such condition these hoofs and humps are suitable. Okay, so next one we have about the aquatic habitat. So in the aquatic habitat, the aquatic media maintaining homeostasis. What is homeostasis? That is balance with osmotic balance. What is osmotic balance? It is concerned with the water and salt balance, that is what is called as osmotic balance. Then it is very important. Marine animals have the adaptations to prevent cell shrinkage. What is cell shrinkage? Cells may shrink because of loss of water. Okay, so that is to be maintained. Freshwater organisms have adaptations to withstand bursting of cells. See, when there is a freshwater organism, they may tend to take up the water more and more. It may cause bursting. Do you follow? Marine animals have adaptation to prevent cell shrinkage, and it is opposite in the case of freshwater organisms that prevents the bursting. Okay, these two are opposite terms. Okay, apart from this, organisms such as fishes have wide range of adaptation, that is the fins for locomotion, streamlined body. What is streamlined body? It is like this, so that it can just move in water. Okay, and then lateral line system, you might have seen in the fishes. Okay, what is lateral line system? Okay, in the fish, if you see, you can find one line goes on dorsal, on the surface of the body. Whatever fish it may be, you can closely look at it. It will have a line over that. That is what is called as the lateral line system. What is lateral line system? What is its function? Its function is sensory. So it is able to sense the temperature or pressure, whatever is there, can able to sense. Okay, and the gills for respiratory purpose, and air sacs for flotation in the case of fishes, and kidneys for excretion. So they excrete ammonia because it is present in water. Ammonia excretion requires more of water. Then we are going to learn about ecological niche. As we were learning about ecological niche, it is a functional space or functional role in the community. It is not only dependent on the lives, but also it includes the sum total of environmental requirements. What is present? Sum total of environmental requirements is the climatic condition and the vegetation. And niche of the organism can be defined as a total position and function of the individual in its environment. Then group of species with comparable role and niche dimensions within a community are termed as guilds. Okay, and then the species that occupy the same niche in different geographical region are termed as ecological equivalence. So in this paragraph, you should know what is ecological equivalent. It is important. Species that occupy same niche in different geographical regions is termed as ecological equivalence. It is a repetition which we have learnt in botany. Okay, next we are going to learn about the crickets and grasshoppers. Okay, so these are all the examples. So crickets are the organisms, you might have, when you go to the place, for example like forest, you will hear some noise. When it is a lonely condition, you will hear some noise. That noise is produced by the insect called as cricket. Okay, so and about grasshopper we are going to learn. They live in the same habitat, but they occupy different ecological niches. Grasshopper is very active during daylight, and the cricket is not active during daylight. It can usually be found on plants feeding the plant parts. Crickets hide under the leaves or plant debris, and it is inactive during the daytime. So you will not hear the noise during daytime. Cricket and grasshopper do not interfere with each other. They live in the same place, but they do not interact or disturb each other. Now we are going to learn about pond ecosystem. It is very simple and familiar to you. In pond ecosystem, Katla, Rohu, Mrigal are the names of the fishes, that is freshwater fish. Katla, here Katla is surface feeder. So surface feeder, they are found on the surface of the water. Rohu is column feeder, that is this area. Okay, and then mrigal is the bottom feeder. So though they are present in the same ecological condition, that is they are present in the pond ecosystem, they occupy different areas for their living purpose. Okay, so they adapt themselves to live in a particular area, that is the mouth, or designed to suit their niche. So this is the ecological niche of which organism? Which is the surface feeder? Cutla. So cutla is present on the surface of the water. Mouth is designed as such. It is able to feed the organisms on the surface. Okay, so that is how it is designed and adapted. Next we are going to learn about the major abiotic components or major abiotic factors. As you know, non-living things, we were just listed out all the names of abiotic factors. We will learn in detail about temperature. Temperature, as I told you, it is not only hotness, it is about coldness also, and it influences all forms of life. Okay, by affecting vital activities. Major activities are getting affected by the temperature. So first point is given as metabolism. As you know, what are all the constructive and destructive process, that is digestion and synthesis is happening in our body, comes under metabolism. It requires optimum temperature to do the process properly. Behavior, whether it is nocturnal or whether it is able to withstand daylight condition and temperature, the organisms live. Okay, so that is what is called as behavior. Reproduction, whether it is oviparous or viviparous, or which climatic condition is suitable to lay eggs and to produce young one, is determined by temperature. And development, so some of the organisms will develop or it is able to grow in a high temperature condition. Okay, so that is what is mentioned as development. Younger one is getting developed. Okay, and death in the biosphere. So the temperature variations may cause a death in the biosphere of the organism. Higher in temperature may cause death of an organism. Okay, next we have the influences on chemical and biological character. Whose influence? Temperature's influence. So minimum temperature or maximum temperature is not good. So it should have the optimum temperature. Optimum temperature will help the enzyme to work properly because enzymes are temperature sensitive. Then biological characters, determination of sex, sex ratio, maturation of gonads, gametogenesis, reproduction is influenced by the temperature. Okay, so next we are going to learn about the influences on physical character, how the body is adapted to the temperature. The space is very important. Please listen carefully and learn the rules. Okay, Bergman's rule and Allen's rule. In certain environments, size and coloration of the animal is influenced by the temperature. Birds, mammals attain greater body size. Okay, they look bigger in size in the colder region. Okay, for example, if you see panda, so that will be bigger in size. Okay, so compared to the organisms of the same variety found in the warmer region. Then Allen's rule, warm-blooded animals living in colder climates possess shorter limbs and ears when compared to the same species in warmer climate. Okay, so warm-blooded species, that is mostly mammals. Here it is given a rabbit as an example. So animals living in colder areas possess short limbs, short ears and other appendages. Appendages are legs, whichever you are seeing as the extra organs. Okay, from the body extension is there, that is called as the appendage. Okay, and compared to the warmer climate, so warmer climate organisms may have lengthier leg and ears compared to the colder climate organisms. Okay, so next we are going to learn about influence on organisms distribution. So temperature has got good influence over the distribution of the organism. That is number of organism present in a particular area. It is nothing but the population. Okay, so tropics have higher diversity and density of population when compared to temperate and polar regions. Okay, so when you compare the polar region, generally temperate region has got more in number of organisms. In some aquatic environments, an inverse relationship between water and temperature, that a fish meristic characters is observed. Okay, so what is a fish meristic means? How it is able to adapt itself, what is the size of the fish, how it is able to grow in the particular environment. Okay, so in some aquatic environment, an inverse relationship between water temperature and fish meristic is size of the organism is seen. Okay, which we have seen already, it is inverse. Then lower the temperature in the environment, more the vertebrate are present. It is called as Jordan rule. So in this page, it is very important to learn Jordan rule. What is he saying? Lower the temperature in the environment, more the vertebrates are being present. Okay, so next we are going to learn about the adaptation to temperature. So even there is a more in temperature, less in temperature, whatever be the condition, the organism themselves adapt to live in a particular environment. We are familiar with these two terms, eurytherm and stenotherm. So these two are based on the adaptation. The organisms which can survive a wide range of temperature are called as eurytherm. Ability to survive in wide range of temperature increase the species ability to inhabit. Inhabit means they are able to go and live in other areas. Okay, an advantage of natural selection. Okay, eurytherm is aspect of thermoregulation in organism. Thermoregulation in organism themselves are able to regulate the temperature. So that is present in the case of the organism, that is called as eurythermy. Okay, now we have learnt about what are eurytherms, what are examples of eurytherms, and what is eurythermy. Okay, stenotherms, organisms which can tolerate only a narrow range of temperature, and what are the examples for stenotherm is given here. Okay, so we will learn about adaptation. Adaptation of the organisms for survival in extreme temperature. Extreme temperature is very high temperature and very low temperature. Okay, so heat resistant spores are being produced. Cyst also, it is in dormant form of the seed like. Then Arctic fishes, okay, which is able to withstand the colder condition. Okay, so the organism may also hibernate, that is they go for sleep during winter, so that it need not be searching for the food and other requirements for the biological activity. So they go for long sleep during winter is called hibernation, and during summer if the organism undergoes long sleep, that is called as estivation. Okay, so next, in certain conditions migrations help, so organism may move from one place to another. Okay, so in order to skip that particular temperature, here in this picture it is given the activity can be less or higher based on the temperature. Okay, when the temperature is minimum, stenothermal organisms activity is more. When the temperature is maximum, some of the organisms show the increase in activity. They are based on that, they are termed as polythermal and oligothermal. Eurythermal organisms are very active during the optimum temperature, not less, not more. Okay, next we are going to learn about the light. So far we have learnt about the temperature. Now it is going to be light, significant characters of light for the organism. So wavelength and color of the light may affect the plants, and intensity of light may help them in doing the photosynthesis in the case of the plants. Animals, the intensity of light may save the calorie, or it just eats up the calorie. And duration, length of the daylight. So sometimes during temperature the daylight is more. Okay, so light influences growth and pigmentation. Okay, so color formation is influenced by the light and migration moving from one place to another. Reproduction is also influenced by the light. The intensity and frequency of light influences metabolic activity. Temperature and light goes together and it may induce mutation in the case of UV light and X-ray. Light is essential for vision. Okay, diapause is also influenced by light in animals. So they undergo a period of rest based on the presence or absence of light. Next we are going to learn about water. Water is an essential component because 3/4 of our earth is covered by water. It is termed as hydrosphere. Three states of water, gaseous, liquid and solid, and two types of water on the earth, fresh water and salt water. Okay, so based on the dissolved salt content, they are differentially named. Then hard water contains sulfites, nitrates, calciums and magnesium. Temporary hardness can be removed by boiling. Permanent water, boiling does not help to remove the hardness of the water. Next we have essential properties of water. It is a main agent for pedogenesis. What is pedogenesis? It is soil formation. Okay, so it is a medium for several different ecosystem. Okay, so several different whatever be the ecosystem, water is essential. It is present as moisture in atmosphere, outer layers of lithosphere, uneven distribution on the earth. Earth has got uneven distribution of water on the surface. It is heavier than air and imparts greater buoyancy to the aquatic medium. Okay, it is heavier than air and it imparts greater buoyancy to the aquatic medium. It has high heat capacity and latent heat due to which it can withhold large amount of heat. It is able to withhold the heat and it takes time to become cooler. The water takes time to become cooler because it is able to hold the heat. It is less than as the solid, that is ice, than the liquid. So when it is in the ice form, it is less dense as solid and than in the form of the liquid. Okay, next we are going to learn about freezing temperature of the water is 0 degree and it contracts, which enables the ice to float on top of the water because the surface area becomes less when it is becoming the soil. Okay, so then considered as a universal solvent, water is considered as a universal solvent and it transports the chemical constituents inside the body also along with the blood. Okay, water has high surface tension. It allows the pollen, dust, even water striders to remain at the surface of the water body, even though they are denser than the water. Some of the pollen grains are made to stay on the surface of the water, maybe because of the oily coating on the surface of them. Okay, next we will learn about the soil. So pedogenesis we have learned, that is production of the soil. So the soil zone is called as pedosphere. As we say water, hydrosphere, that the term used for soil is pedosphere. Soil is formed from the rock. So rock is a parent material. Okay, so this process is called as embryonic soil. From the rock it is formed, then it is called as embryonic soil or pedogenesis. It is formed of many horizontal layers called as the soil profile. We have learned in detail about soil profile earlier with the picture. Okay, next we will learn about the major function of the soil. As you know, it helps in plants growth and it helps in storage of water and sometimes purification. Water is getting filtered through the layers of the soil. That is what is called as purification. Then modifier of the earth's atmosphere. So with the soil is able to withhold the water or not, or what is the soil erosion? that can modify Earth's atmosphere. Then habitat for many organisms. Yes, most of the organisms are living on top layer of the earth, that is the lithosphere, or on the soil. Okay, next we will learn about the properties of soil. First comes texture. What is the nature? When you touch and feel how it is. So it is determined by the size of the soil particle based on the differences and that is the soil type. The differences can be seen in the form of silt, or it can be sand, or it can be clay based on the size and the texture. Porosity. What is porosity? The space present in between them, that is the gap. That names that because of that the name is given as porosity. Space present between the soil particle in a given volume of soil is called as the pore space. Okay, the percentage of soil volume occupied by the pore space or by the interstitial space is called as porosity of the soil. So here porosity is important. Next we are going to learn about the permeability, so which is able to allow, permit, that is permeability of the soil. Movement of water through the pore space is called as soil permeability. It directly depends on the pore size, and water holding capacity of the soil is inversely dependent on the soil porosity. Okay, so water should go inside and it should not come out. That is what the holding of water mean. Okay, so it is inversely proportional. When the pores are very small, the water goes inside and stays as such. Then soil temperature. So soil temperature, solar radiation, the soil is able to withhold the temperature. And decomposing organic matter. Do you understand? The decomposition is a biological process that is happening in the soil that gives off the temperature. How the temperature is given out? It is a kind of metabolic activity exhibited by the microorganisms during decomposition process. Okay, and heat from interior of the earth. As you know, we have the lava that can be going under the layers of the earth, and it may produce some heat that is getting transmitted from one place to another. And the soil temperature affects the germination of the seeds and growth of the roots also. And biological activity, soil inhabiting micro and macroorganisms. Soil must be in a position to allow good microorganisms to grow on them, so that it will help the plants to grow in turn. Okay, next we are going to learn about soil water. So it is along with the porosity, we have learned about the water. So water acts as a solvent and it is a transporting agent. So it maintains soil texture. Okay. So arrangement of the compactness of the soil particle, making the soil habitable for the plants and animals. Okay. Next we are going to learn about the wind. So wind is a natural movement of the air, okay, of any velocity from particular direction. Two main causes of wind is differential heating between the equator and pole. Follow? Please learn again. Two main causes of the wind. One, differential heating. The differential heating between equator and poles. So, and the rotation of the planet. Rotation of the planet. So, Coriolis effect is the rotation of the planet can also cause a wind. Wind helps to transport pollen grains, seeds, and even flight of the bird. Being the source of wind energy causes erosion. Wind speed is measured with the help of anemometer. So in this, the second point is important and the last point is important. Next we are going to learn about humidity. So amount of water content present in the air is called as the humidity. Moisture in the form of invisible vapor is called as humidity. It is measured by hygrometer. It is measured with the help of hygrometer. So it is expressed in terms of absolute humidity and relative humidity. Absolute in a place and relative is a comparative note. Next we will learn about the absolute humidity. Water vapor present in a given volume or mass of air. Okay, then relative humidity, it is expressed as a percentage of amount needed for saturation at the same temperature. That is, it can rain, so saturation is corresponding with the rain. Okay, high percentage means that air water mixture is more humid at a given temperature. Okay, so relative humidity, we are using the word percentage, and percentage of saturation that deals with raining capacity. Okay, next we will learn about the altitude. It is the elevation or a gradient which affects the temperature and precipitation in an ecosystem. Okay, as altitude increases, temperature, density of oxygen decreases. Okay, going in higher altitude, that is you are climbing the mountain. Higher altitudes receive snow instead of rain because of the lower temperature. Animals modify themselves, their body, in response to environmental changes, and this is known as acclimatization. Acclimatization is a parallel term for adaptation. So in this you should know, as altitude increases, temperature and density of oxygen decreases, that you are climbing towards the mountain, you remember. Okay, next we are going to learn about the example. People who have moved from plains to higher altitudes, they have enhanced the RBC count within few days, because they suffer without the oxygen, so the body is able to produce more in number of RBCs to cope up or to manage themselves in the low in oxygen condition. Okay, next we will learn about the topic map. So far we have learnt about the xerophatic camel and aquatic habitat. We have learnt about pond and different layers in the pond, how the organisms themselves adapt themselves to live in the surface, column and bottom with the help of the modification in their mouth. And then temperature influences, we have learnt in detail about light, water, soil, wind, humidity and altitude. We have learnt about all these things in this class. Please take notes while you listen to the class. It is one of the simplest lesson when you read by yourself. Thank you, students.